Hello and namaste. This is Preeti Adhikari, the founder of the Great Nepali Diaspora, and this is TGND Beats, Diaspora Ka Kurakani. This is a podcast where we showcase global Nepalis with roots in Nepal and show their stories of, success, struggle, and perseverance. And today we have a very, very special guest, Lex Limbu, who's the founder of Tracing Nepal, a very popular vlogger, and so much more. So we'll dive into all of that. Welcome, Lex.
Hi, Preeti. Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to the conversation that we're having and love what you're doing with TGND, bringing so many people across the world.
Thank you, Lex. You're one of the first, I think, right, in terms of Nepali in terms of like being out there, vlogging and all of that. How did that get started?
I was a very bored teenager. So I was 14, 15 years old, living in the UK, had a lot of free time. So I decided to create a blog called lexlimbu.com. So this was back like 2008-9 period. Yeah. And in those times, I guess, I'm not sure if I was good, but I guess there wasn't plenty. So my timing was good. And a lot of people from the UK and elsewhere got to know my blog and got to know things that were happening because I took so much interest in especially entertainment and arts back then. And I think that's how it all started.
I know, awesome. And I think you've inspired a whole generation of people to follow, right, in terms of being out there and showcasing. So you've definitely done some amazing work. Tell us about, where were you born? How was your childhood in Nepal and in the UK? Kosto थियो, growing up?
I was born in Dharan. But when I was 2, my parents and I left Nepal and we then moved to Brunei. So my childhood was in Brunei until the age of like when I was 8. So Brunei, very hot, lots of, being outdoors. It was really fun. It was like a dream childhood. And then in the year 2000, we moved to the UK. So I had been living there up until February this year. So my childhood in Nepal has been very limited because from like 0 to 2 years of age, I have no memory. But what I can say is there were periods in my life when I moved back to Nepal to join my parents because their British Army posting was in Nepal. And then I later on, after I did my undergrad, I went to Nepal because I wanted to have my 1-year gap year, experiencing things and working, because I always wanted that, because I felt I never had that. I never grew up in Nepal or had my teenage years. So I had that. So it was kind of all back and forth, but majority of the time it's been in the UK.
Right. For our audience, I've met Lex twice in person. One was just like a, hello thing. And this, last month, I got to spend a little bit of time with him, have coffee and so on. And apart from everything else, one thing that really impressed me was Timro Nepali, right? It's incredible, that you have Timro diction and in terms of all of that. And there's obviously a story behind that as well, right? Being, fluent in Nepali as well. Can you share that?
Now I feel so much pressure to speak in Nepali.
No, it was perfect. Trust me.
खास गरी के भयो भने जब मैले भने नि त्यो ब्लग सुरु गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ ब्लग चाहिँ खास गरी नेपाली ब्लग भए पनि इङ्ग्लिस ल्याङ्ग्वेजमै थियो तर जब चाहिँ समय बित्दै गयो आई got more familiar with people in Nepal and they would send me lots of information, lots of press release type of information हाम्रो बारेमा यो लेखिदिनु पर्यो हैन अनि and then a lot of information that were rich and that were very good to take was also all written in Nepali. मलाई त त्यो बाध्यताले गरेर नि मैले चाहिँ नेपाली चाहिँ आफूले कोर्स गरेर भए पनि बुझ्नुपर्ने र पढ्नुपर्ने स्थिति आयो अनि a lot of the times त त्यो समयमा धेरै नेपाली फिल्म हेरेर नै पनि मेरो नेपाली इम्प्रुभ खालको स्थिति भयो है अनि त्यो हो सो मेरो अब सिम्पल भन्नु पर्दाखेरि नै त्यसरी नै मेरो इम्प्रुभ भयो because to say that you don't know something, to say that you don't understand also sometimes feels like I don't know, त्यो समयमा चाहिँ एउटा sense of कस्तो लाज लाग्ने हुन्छ क्या but now I realize it's completely fine as well because I've been away from Nepal and my whole life has been outside of Nepal, right? But I did not to tell somebody that I didn't know. So उहाँहरूले press release पठायो भने मैले हुन्छ हुन्छ म पढेर म गरिदिन्छु भनेर भने and then I'm just looking at all the letters and thinking, oh my god. Till this day, sometimes when we talk about figures, I'm still like, it's definitely under 6. I know, like the ask or what now, what's under this zone. But I think you become much more comfortable to tell somebody that actually,
exactly.
I don't know the number. Can you explain it to me? And it's completely fine for me to not know as well, because that was never my medium. And also, कति ठाउँमा हाम्रो मौका पनि हुँदैन नि त हैन सिक्ने पनि but also learning is good. Learning is good, and it like activates all parts of the brain.
Of course, and the reason I wanted to kind of share that here is for the same reason, right? One is that you were open-minded and wanted to try is amazing, and two, I think there's a big chunk of our community that do not speak the language or don't understand it, and now it's also fine to say, okay, I don't fully understand it. Can I get some help on it? I think there's no, to las lagne hunu pardaina ke, right? There's, the definition of being a Nepali is this big range, right? And we're all sort of in that somewhere. So, so that's what I wanted to kind of share about it. Lex, tell us about Tracing Nepal. Incredible name. Tell us what it is.
Tracing Nepal started in 2014. It was started by myself and my friend, who's also from the UK, but now she's Nepali, but she's also moved to America, so she's in New York. I guess that's stories of Nepali people. We're everywhere. We're constantly on the move. And it's designed for Nepali people living outside of Nepal to come together and experience Nepal like never before. Now, that sounds very vague, but what we do is it's about some of us who may not have a kind of real insight or an opportunity to explore gaon gharharu, हैन, but also the ramailo parts that maybe our parents never got to experience, or they probably would never be able to showcase because they may not know where the fun parts are, right? Because when I was growing up, a lot of my friends my age were pretty much of the sentiment that नेपालमा जानु अल्छी लाग्छ हैन, पाउना खानु मात्रै खाँदा है, अनि प्लस बाहिर जानु पनि कहीँ पनि निस्किनु दिएन भन्ने खालको समयमा हामी हुर्केको थियौँ भनौँ न, जुन चाहिँ अहिले चेन्ज पनि भइसक्यो, तर 2014 तिर चाहिँ it was still a very much a new thing for a lot of Nepali people living outside, and that's what we do. And it's also another element of it is we partner with we try our best to partner with all Nepali registered NGOs and showcase the good work that they're doing. And by people paying to travel with us, we get to put that money back to NGOs that so need the money because, they're doing incredible work as well. And people from whether it's Germany, UK, USA, Singapore, Belgium, they get to travel alongside people with similar stories as them, I know. So that's what makes Tracing Nepal unique, and it's been going on annually since 2014. And I'm so excited to have it back. We're coming back with an experience in October this year.
Awesome. And we'd be, happy to share it with our community in terms of, I think it's a great opportunity, especially for people that have been away for a while, right? To, reconnect with their roots and in a very authentic way, right? So, I love the idea, and, I think our community will enjoy learning more for sure. Lex, one sort of thing that I wanted to chat about is, you ended up in the UK. What did you want to be, or keep your plans in terms of, for your life?
When I was very young, I think the very, very childhood phase, and I wanted to be a pilot when I was older. But the more, when I was in my kind of 16, 17 years of age, I realized that I like the idea of traveling more than, I guess, being the pilot, flying the plane. So I think that kind of shaped what I wanted to do. And I was getting more and more interested in, I guess, mainly asking a lot of questions that revolve around why, why certain countries are like this, why certain communities, होइन, development को पनि वाइको कुरामा त्यस्तो हिसाबमा चाहिँ I ended up studying geography. I ended up studying geography, and all I wanted to do was work for a charity, whether it's big or small, something that's actually doing something for people, communities, or the environment that we share this space with and where we are. And up until now, so right now I'm speaking from Nepal. I've been in Nepal for 6 months. But just before I left the UK, I was working for a charity. So my kind of background in terms of the job, away from the whole blogging and Tracing Nepal, has been in the charity sector.
Awesome. Only like with especially with COVID and everything, right? There's this boom of the creator economy, and people are not just consuming things on TikTok, they're creating a lot of things, and especially in Nepal, you can see that, right? It's people of all ages, all of that. What is your take on that in terms of where is Nepal? I mean, you see the global landscape as well. Where is Nepal in terms of that creator economy, and two, how can we make it better?
Regarding where Nepal is, I think it's safe to say that a lot of us are on social media. Our I guess the mobile phone access, the penetration of internet, and how I guess arguably affordable data is for Nepali people. That sets us in a place that if we're not creating or if we're not online, then we're kind of missing from the conversation. And this at all ages as well. I know there's Messenger, Facebook, usage, and then there's TikTok, Instagram, and then obviously things like WhatsApp, Viber, they're also social media. Besides Facebook and so on. तर अर्को कुरा चाहिँ के पनि आयो भने चाहिँ अब अहिलेको समयमा चाहिँ टिकटक जुन तरिकाले टिकटकको ग्रोथ एक्सप्लोर भयो नि, I think it's an incredible thing because it has made internet accessible or social media accessible for people even with the most minimal of devices. Now you don't have to have an SLR camera or an iPhone or Samsung. You can operate even with a very simple phone. त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ कति धेरै कथाहरू, कति धेरै न्यारेटिभ्सहरू, कति धेरै व्यक्तिहरू सायद हामीले ट्रेडिसनल टिभीमा देख्दैन थियौँ होला, तर अहिले त उहाँहरूलाई कसै पनि रोक्न सक्दैन because no one has the power to stop someone from becoming viral, right? And so त्यो हिसाबमा the positive things are we're seeing so many people from different communities and they get to be agents of their own stories, their own people and heroes, right? तर त्यो सँगसँगै पनि कति हिसाबमा चाहिँ I do feel and I get worried when I observe कति धेरै कुरा चाहिँ I think हामी as viewersहरूले चाहिँ फिल्टर गर्न पनि अलिकति हामीलाई सिक्न समय लागिरहेको छ कुन कुरा ठिक हो त्यो इन्फर्मेसनलाई कसरी डिसेमिनेट गर्ने or कसरी चाहिँ हामीले क्रिटिकली असेस गर्न सकिन्छ भन्नेहरू चाहिँ त्यो अलिक नहुँदाखेरि चाहिँ कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ अलिकति situation is a bit scary जस्तो पनि लाग्छ हैन but I think it's we're all learning. I think that's what I'd like to take it to. We're all learning and that's why it's even more important for things like this podcast, for people to come out, to share their experiences, to be open about when they've made a mistake or when they've learned to actually filter things. So we need to continue creating. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. It's not like a follow-up question, but if there's somebody, especially young people that are thinking of, being a creator and that's a big range as well. What is your advice if you have 2 or 3 this kind of pointers, Kate Habani? Would love for you to share it.
That's a really hard thing because I guess all I would say is I think it's really important that they have a good support system, whether it's their friends or family members, because once we put something out online, we have no idea how somebody is going to understand or misunderstand it, their perception of what we're talking about or who we are as well. And if we're not ready, and if other people could judgments or questions, criticisms are there, after parts of it, त्यहाँ गाह्रो पनि हुनुपर्छ हैन त्यसको लागि हामी फेस पनि गर्न सक्नु पर्यो है र अर्को चाहिँ अब I think it's great if we alikati consider and think more about what we're doing and what we're putting out online. There's already so much information online. So whatever that you do it from your heart. Be passionate about it, be interested about it. Because if you're interested about it, then you won't care even if there's only like 2 people watching it. Because you're
Oh, if you're not just your parents watching it.
त्यही हो अनि सुरुमा त it's all of our supporters नि त त्यस पछाडि मात्र ग्रोथ पनि होइन म त्यही भन्न चाहन्छु but I think it's also really time has changed so much. So when I was 15 and 16 and putting things on YouTube and on, it was just I was forced putting content everywhere because त्यो समयमा everything was much more private. अहिले चाहिँ अब even if you don't necessarily want to put yourself on social media has just become so public that it's almost that we have no control. समय पनि आइसकेको छ. So त्यो advice दिन पनि गाह्रो हुन्छ तर त्यही हो अब online भए पछाडि you just have to like be ready to ride the wave.
Exactly. No, and then I think there's, like you said, pros and cons. But alikiti intentional pani, I think it's important, right? Let's take a step back, Lex. Alikiti, let's talk about alikiti ramailo kura, right? I mean, timro journey ma through the different places, through everything you've done, Mate. Tell us about a really fun experience. One, say fun, and two, say something alikiti embarrassing manali, not like in a bad way, that is something that like you talked about 15-16 hudakheriको experience that you probably, with the knowledge now, you probably wouldn't do it, right? This is okay.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, Facebook memories always serves as a reminder of all the things that I shouldn't have done or said in the past. So that's why I think so. I think I spent far too much time blogging and writing about what he or she or they wore, who looked better in what clothes. For me, I guess at that age, that was entertainment. Any inspiration when I go with it, but there were various popular entertainment bloggers in the West, in America. And wow, with the inspiration they can पनि मैले गरे हो, so म original भनेर कहिले पनि भन्नु पनि चाहदिन हैन. तर अहिले देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's like I really should have stopped that त्यो समयमा नै जस्तो लाग्ने हैन. त्यस्तो हुन्छ. Ani, I think when you're younger and even you have a bit of social media following and so on, even though it's so you don't really feel it because I'm living in the UK mainly. No one really knows this whole blog side, but you do feel it's very powerful. It's like a platform. So it's really important that you have people around you to humble you, and my people that humbled me were my sisters, so they would always be like, okay, I think you shouldn't write so aggressively and so on. Right. So yeah, I made a fair few enemies with Nepali film producers and so on because I spoke openly about how certain movies I didn't enjoy, but so winning back, right? But like great things are funny. I think as Lex Limbu, I've been fortunate to be able to do so many things, whether it's work with charities, deliver health camps, host events, not just in the UK, but Nepal, Australia as well, and also be part of like Gorkha engagement projects. Tracing Nepal, Tracing Nepal, that was the first time I realized that with this experience that we've created, it's fundamentally kind of given somebody, these people, this experience that they may never have had, because they just would not know where to go to get an experience like that. Suruma ta I thought, I know why young young कति कुरा त जहिले तरै हामीलाई नयाँ चाहिँ रमाइलो हुन्छ नि त्यस्तो लाग्थ्यो. But as time has gone, we've had people who have who are like pretty much well in their careers, in their 30s, even somebody who's 44, married with children, but they just have never had that experience. नेपालमा गाउँ घरहरू सानो भएको छैन, पुग्नु भएको छैन, बिकज उहाँहरूको गाउँ नै काठमाडौँ भयो होइन. अनि त्यो हिसाबमा त्यस्तो एक्सपिरियन्स प्रोभाइड गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ and they get very emotional about it, and it's just like, oh my god, I've just created such a simple thing and everything is actually them nita ani tara त्यो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ experience गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it's like, wow, I should continue, and I think that's like the best thing that I've done.
I love that, and I think your pathma, there's so much more for you to achieve. So we're so excited to support and cheer you on that, Lex. I think this is definitely incredible. One question I have is,
Can I also
of course.
अर्को चाहिँ के पनि भन्न चाहन्छु भने लाइक अब मैले अब धेरै नेपाली डायस्पोराको बारेमा अब त्यो समयमा पहिला अस्ट्रेलियामा के कन्सर्टहरू हुँदैछ, पहिलाको समयमा युएसएमा पनि एएनए कन्भेन्सन होइन, टु भेरियस ब्युटी प्याजेन्ट्सहरू त्यस्तोहरू अब कहिलेकाहीँ मात्र हुन्थ्यो नि त। अनि त्यो चिजहरूको बारेमा लेखेर पनि आई फिल द्याट मैले अनलाइन यति धेरै मान्छेहरूसँग एक किसिमको सोसियल मिडियाबाट फ्रेन्ड बनाउन सकेँ नि। अनि त्यो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ म अहिले जहाँ गए पनि कोही न कोही चिन्छु जस्तो फिल हुन्छ। सो आई नेभर फिल अलोन। अनि and I think living in the UK, I've been very fortunate to travel to so many countries, and it's more than the awkwardness भन्दा पनि I find it so easy to just be like, hey, all गएर just old friends are just तरिकाले to meet up with somebody, and also सायद अरू बेला भन्दा अरूहरूलाई भन्दा पनि छिट्टो उहाँहरूको कम्युनिटी, उहाँहरूको लाइफ, उहाँहरूको त्यहाँको रहनसहन कस्तो छ भनेर त्यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति बुझ्ने मौका चाहिँ छिट्टो पाउँछ नि। अनि त्यो चाहिँ आई थिङ्क त्यो ब्लगको फेमिलियरिटी नभएको भए उहाँहरूलाई पनि त्यस्तो सजिलोसित कनेक्ट हुँदैन थियो होला है। अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ आई थिङ्क आइ एम भेरी लकी। एट द एन्ड अफ द डे आई थिङ्क all that majority of what has been designed is like social media is for us to connect. अहिलेको समयमा कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ धेरै डिस्कनेक्ट फिल भएर हुन्छ, त्यो कनेक्सन स्टिल हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ इट मेक्स मी भेरी ह्याप्पी.
It is, and I think you're so right. There's obviously a lot of negativity around social media and so on, that the good parts are pretty amazing as well, right? The connection you have even with strangers on social media, that when you meet in person, it's almost like you're already friends because you know about each other's lives and all of it. So Theo is pretty special, and I think if you focus on that, that's incredible, right? The focus on the good things that social media gives us. No, I so agree on that. Your question, say, just in terms of when you sit and think about Lex Limbu now, right? Who is Lex Limbu? What are the layers of your identity in terms of as a person now, and which ones are sort of a priority? Your layers, how do you see yourself? How do you sort of identify yourself in terms of like number one this, number two this, hockey, or like how do you do that?
That's such a tough question. You know how companies have every 5 year, this is our vision, this is our brand identity. I'm going through that right now. And recently I had a conversation with a guy, and he said, Timla Lex Limbu, people know you as this blogger. Timla blog, people know blogger. And then you do all these other things, whether it's travel, events, host garni, talking about LGBTIQ, A+ issues, matters, and so on. And you have this podcast, YouTube, and down. So there's a lot going on. I said, even first time I still feel comfortable to say blogger, regardless of my output on lexlimbu.com. But I'm in a bit of a period where I'm trying to reframe the direction of my next 10 years. And I want all of that to be like mentally Lex Limbu, so that travel experiences or point. But equally, I also feel that number 2, number 1 it's important that I continue to carve out or occupy more space in the media sector, especially in Nepal's context. And I realized that it's important to have a voice. It's important to have a media voice, especially as someone, I as Lex Limbu, I am also somebody who's the son of a Gurkha soldier. I am somebody who's a Nepali from the UK, because that's where I've been majority. Nepalमा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ I'm not just Nepali, but I'm Limbu, एउटा जनजातीय मूलवासी को एउटा communityको मान्छे, and someone who's gay as well. So if I have the opportunity to create outlets where I get to voice my opinion and bring people and diversify that, whether it's TikTok or TV or मलाई त्यो चाहिँ अवश्य अगाडि बढाउन मन छ. So I think there's going to be a bit of an amalgamation to who I am and what I do.
Lex Limbu 2.0.
2.0, yeah. I think out of 3.1, that's Shakya. So yeah, so I think maybe it's like I don't just have to be one thing, but I can be like a assortment of things, and that can be part of the making of who I am. So yeah, I think that's that.
No, I think that's beautiful, and I love that you're sort of reflecting on everything you are and are becoming, and really being intentional in terms of your next steps. I think that's something that we all need to learn as well, right? In terms of there is no one person that you have to be. I think you can be a mix of a lot of different identities. So that's incredible. In terms of like you said, right? I mean, you're not just a Nepali, right? A Nepali that has lived abroad. So you're a mixture of different cultures, in everything. What are some things, with all the learning from all of that? Two questions, two-part question. One is, how can the diaspora, UK and US and all of it globally, how can we really help Nepal? One is that. Number two is, how can we help each other in terms of our diaspora, let's say?
So to address the second question first, in terms of how can we help each other within the diaspora, I think UK context my actually a lot of the people who live in the UK. I think it would be fair to generalize that a lot of us have only moved to the UK in the past 15 to 25 years. Majority of the 100,000 don't. And largely that's due to the Gorkhasko settlement rights in 2006 bio. So I think it's really important to have positive examples, to have examples of individuals that may have, gone through hardship, gone through different changes. The few stories they are very important. So, हामीले एकअर्काको examples देखेन भने we don't really know as well that what we are capable of, what we can achieve. But early 2006 period there was a lot of challenges. कति धेरै मान्छेलाई चाहिँ त्यो transition to another country, to another culture, to another educational system नि गाह्रो थियो नि त. अनि हाम्रो lack of openness ले पनि सायद हामीलाई अलिकति setback गर्यो होला, because त्यति बेला त एकजना व्यक्तिलाई मात्र गाह्रो परिरहेको त थिएन नि त, सबैलाई परिरहेको थियो. अनि नेपाल छोडेर गएर all of a sudden त्यो सपना जस्तो कुराहरू त हुन त टाइम लाग्यो. र अहिले के देखियो भने जति नै तलमाथि भए तापनि a lot of people are doing well professionally or whatever that they have their intent not on. अनि so त्यसको लागि चाहिँ त्यो यस्तो networking, collaboration, co-creation, it's very important. अनि हामी सधैँ नेपाली community सँगै बिचमा बसेर नै काम गर्नुपर्ने भन्ने पनि छैन. तर when there are opportunities to tap in and tap out, I think it would be great if we can continue doing this. अनि अर्को चाहिँ तपाईँको first question was, how can we support or contribute, help Nepal भन्ने कुरा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ एउटा individual basis को कुरा जस्तो लाग्यो. तर अवश्य मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ भने चाहिँ हामी as individuals, wherever and whatever we're doing, whether we are working in an engineering firm or in a hospital as a nurse or a doctor, without us having to move back to Nepal, we can still somehow connect or have our expertise that I say कसरी चाहिँ नेपालसँग कनेक्ट गराउन सक्छौं भनेर त्यो एउटा होमवर्क चाहिँ हामीले गर्दा हुन्छ हैन. And there are lots of companies and organizations in the UK that are always trying to expand and broaden their support for other countries as well. As colleagues, if I pitch in, well, I come from this rural community in Nepal, and I would love if my company did a CSR project in this area, etc. That's such a small scale, but one or the individual way, for me to like connect it back to Nepal. And communities are like earthquake pata हामीले देख्यौं हैन, योहरु गर्दै पनि आइराछ र हामीले त्यसरी individual level बाट गर्दा पनि हुन्छ, किनभने त्यो चाहिँ I think we forget that is something we can do भनेर. But if you feel passionate, then we can always band together with people who want to, spend their every Sunday thinking about what they can do in Nepal, or even start something like where they just come for 1 week and share their expertise, collaborate with other experts in Nepal, because ultimately we also gain a lot by coming to Nepal. It's not just going to Nepal and helping, but actually we help ourselves more. I know, because Nepal's climate is so different, and you develop a lot of different skills working in Nepal.
Right. No. I think that's super important. And I think, one of the things, through TGND that we're trying to encourage is also that, where सबैजना once a year they do go to visit Nepal, family and friends हरूलाई, that maybe there's an opportunity to give their expertise, to even meet people, alikiti give guidance, whatever it is, right? So त्यो personal matrai trip हुनु पर्दैन. There can be semi-professional sort of element to it as well. That I think it's happening बिस्तारै. So that's really positive. Lex, I sort of want to talk about the brand, right? You talked about Lex 3.0 and how you're thinking about, that evolution. Also, when you think about the brand of Nepal, if Nepal has a brand, what is that brand, and how can we, if it's not a really good brand, how can we really work together to improve it?
Yeah, I think I'm perplexed with the question in terms of what is Nepal's brand. I think a lot of the things that we see about Nepal and that we read about Himalayan country, Lord Buddha, kind people, I think that's always there. But also I feel like maybe that's not true anymore. It's still getting lax. I know maybe we're kind of moving away, and maybe there's a lot of hardship in this country. Hence all the things that we read. I think there's a huge need for us to kind of collectively think about what Nepal means in the global world, or what Nepal even means to Aibani who are being born outside, because they may not have ever visited Nepal. Like, wow, let's say Nepal there's a lot of work that we need to go through. But I also think that this comes down to each groups and their relationship with Nepal. So because I am very much talking from the travel perspective, like you say, your travel money, Nepal, and how can it brand itself better? How can we also move beyond seasonality? How can we also become this dynamic country, not just mountains we're so grateful for, but Nepal is more than mountains. भन्ने खालको कसरी चाहिँ हामीले त्यो कन्भर्सेसन त्यहाँ पुर्याउन सक्छौँ भन्ने खालको चाहिँ मेरोमा चाहिँ त्यो धेरै सर्कुलेट हुन्छ. तर इक्वली अर्को हिसाबमा, as someone from a Gorkha background, I also realized that maybe historically the 200 years of Gorkha recruitment le ho कि अहिलेसम्म नि migration पनि एउटा brand नै भयो नेपाल, that's such a shame and such a माया लाग्दो चिज है. Individually, it's great that मान्छेहरूको lives उहाँहरूले better गर्नको लागि we will go Lex, and that's what my dad did as well. But ultimately, you come to a point that countryलाई चाहिँ के भइरहेछ भन्ने खालको कुराहरू पनि हुन्छ नि. अनि त्यो हेर्दाखेरि र त्यो बुझ्दाखेरि चाहिँ I think it's unknowingly it's a sad branding for the country. त्यसमा चाहिँ I think I alone don't have an answer, but it's something that I think we should actually think a lot more about. Today I met somebody who's from the UK, and she said, "Dai, so everyone's leaving Nepal. And I said, well, I think that's a big question. And पहिला त अब भन्थ्यो होला सायद अब कामको लागि मात्र गएको, अहिले त पढाइको लागि पनि no one study here. And now त्यसमा अब कस्तो multiple levelबाट बुझ्नु हेर्नुपर्छ यसमा, because म छोड्छु भन्ने पनि एउटा सजिलो डिसिजन त हुँदैन, त्यसमा पनि लगानी हुन्छ. So that's the big topic right now. So that's what I talk to most people about. So maybe that has become.
Yeah. I mean, you're so right. And I think it has so many layers, right? From policy, they can individual level go, lack of opportunities. And there's so much on that. Tara, one question, just as a follow-up, from your experience with you being part of a Gorkha family and so on, is there a learning that we can think of in terms of this bigger migration and all of it, honey? Is there something that we can learn from this your Gorkha experience?
I think the biggest learning is that no matter how many years we are away, we live in another community or country, the connection to Nepal is pretty strong. And I kept thinking that maybe the connection will die out. Even from a slightly older generation of Gorkhas who have lived in the UK for a really long time, they still maintain their identity of what it means to be Nepali or what it means to be a British Nepali changes, and it is very personal. But that connection and that want or willingness to continuously go back and forth Nepal seems to be quite strong. And I've been seeing that also with young Gen Z individuals who are born and raised in the UK, and they might have a very non-Nepali growth or childhood. But when they go to universities, that's when they seem to find Nepali society and start learning all Nepali songs. So त्यो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ खुसी पनि लाग्छ, तर maybe it's now time to do one more step of actually showcasing the positive examples or stories of individuals that have decided to give Nepal a second chance, decided to go back to Nepal, decided to live there or retire there. Because, when some of us get to that retirement age, which I am not close to, but it's like, you can always think, do I retire in the UK or do I retire in Nepal? And, my parents decided to come back as well. And now we're seeing more Gorkha families who are here and who are very much comfortable and happy with the decision that they have made to come back to Nepal and live. अनि त्यो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ हामी चाहिँ अब बाहिर हुर्काउँदाखेरि चाहिँ बाहिर बाबा मम्मीहरूले दुःख गरेर बस्दाखेरि चाहिँ उहाँहरू चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने सायद यति धेरै यी समयसम्म होइन छोरा नातानाति छोरा छोरीलाई हुर्कायो नाता यही छ, लगानी पनि धेरै भयो, अब नेपाल जाने र भन्ने खालको क्वेसन पनि कतिको आउँछ नि। तर उहाँहरूले सायद त्यो पोजिटिभ एक्जाम्पल्सहरू यहाँ पनि अरू आफ्नै साथीभाइ आफ्नै त्यही उमेरको साथीभाइहरूले रमाइलोसित जिन्दगी बिताइरहेको देख्दाखेरि पनि I think that will help the kind of next step.
Of course. No, I think that's such a good point. In a way, I think it's come full circle as well, right? In terms of people migrating when they were young, they can at some point, whether in their midlife or retire, like coming back and all of that. And you're right. I think showcasing all of that, right? Whether it's people living abroad, people coming back, all of it, I think, is important, right? I think it sort of gives people one hope, and two that positive example that it is a choice to do that as well.
I also want to say that I like right now I'm in my kind of phase of basing myself in Nepal, and I want to give this chapter of my life all my 100%. And also this comes from a point of I guess I have the privilege to be back and forth two countries, Nepalma aउने or UK जाने. When UKमा I was working in different jobs and काम हुँदाखेरि पनि मलाई के हुन्थ्यो भने एक दिन नेपालमा गएर I really want to kind of give my 110% to Tracing Nepal and all the other causes and things that I can be part of. भन्ने हुन्थ्यो. But it was also kind of I got to that point that actually I can do it because I can give this a go, and if it doesn't work out, then that's fine. Then I'll find plan B, or I don't know, move back to the UK. Even though that sounds so नराम्रो, तर हामी कतिजना मान्छेहरूको चाहिँ त्यो एउटा privilege छ नि त हैन. अनि त्यो privilege हुँदा हुँदै if we don't have other kind of ties or things restricting us, I would say, you know what, just do it. Your दिमागमा छ भने you need to actually just give it your all. And Nepalमा आएर पनि I've met a lot of UK-बाट फर्केर यहाँ businesses-हरू चलाउनु भएको, या educational consultancies-हरू, या skills program-हरू चलाइराख्नु भएको नेपालीहरू from Gorkha communities and from non-Gorkha communities as well. Some international students who went to UK and they did a great job, and now they have the flexibility to be in. Exactly. And I think it's great. Because हामी जस्तो मान्छेहरू हैन जोसँग त्यो ability to move छ नि, and that's such a big privilege because कति मान्छेको त्यो हुँदैन. अनि त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ why not? कोसिस गर्ने हो अनि भयो भने भयो भएन भने that's fine. You know that you've given it your big shot. And so, to these people, I'm sure it's not easy. And I know that it's always easier if you have a safety net in Nepal, to be honest. But why not?
Why not? It is so right. And I think, immigration is a tough thing, right? And unless you have that privilege of, paperwork and so on, it's a scary, tricky thing that I love what you're saying in terms of if you have, if you're on the other side of the table where you're safe and you have, the relevant papers, why not take that risk, right? And it doesn't have to be forever ko lagi jani haina ki. You could start off by, doing an internship, spending the summer, going to Tracing Nepal program, something like that, right? Where you experience it, you at least give yourself that chance to, understand this better and then make decisions, right? And you either way you have nothing to lose. What you'll get out of it is an amazing experience, at the end, right? Perfect. No, perfect. That's I think our maybe advice for people listening to us, that if you have if you can, maybe worth giving it a shot, maybe taking that risk and seeing for themselves, right? Perfect.
Okay.
On that note, Lex, thank you so much for your time. I think, the person you are, as well as what you've built and what you're trying to do, is incredible. And I think, I'm sure our community is going to be inspired by, what you've achieved so far, what you've done, something completely new. How you're, revamping your identity and the identity of people around you. So thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much, Preeti. Thank you so much, everyone who's listening to TGND. I wish you all the best. And I guess to people who are still listening, I just want to say, whatever that you do, make sure that it's a decision from, within you, and it's for yourself. And I think operate from that, you'll be unstoppable.
Awesome. And on that note, for our audience, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Thank you.